Welcome again to Secrets to Wellness. We've been studying the secrets to wellness that will help you to live longer, healthier, and happier. And we've covered a number of things already: water, exercise, love, lifestyle, and now we are covering nutrition. This is one of my favorite things because I have been doing nutrition classes in cooking schools now for 48 years. So we're going to study a number of things about nutrition in this session. And good nutrition is essential for good health. If we're going to have good health, my friends, we do need good nutrition. So let's look at some simple principles of nutrition. There's so many directions that we could have gone, but I'm going to give you some simple principles that will help you to know that you are getting adequate nutrition on a good diet, on a good original diet. So what are these principles? Well, the three key principles of good nutrition are to choose the right kinds of foods, to choose the right time when we eat, and to choose the right amount of food. So we're going to cover each one of these very thoroughly. So what are the right kinds of foods? For good nutrition, we need the right kind. Well, God knew what the right kind was right from the beginning. But what are you going to put in that wagon? What are you going to put in the wagon at the grocery store and then bring home and put on the table? What are the right kinds of foods? Well, God said in Genesis 1:29, "See, I have given you every plant yielding seed that's on the face of all the land, and every tree with seed in its fruit, and you shall have them for food." So God says, my friends, that I'm going to give you the best food ever. Fruits, nuts and seeds, grains and vegetables. This is what is going to keep you healthy. That's the kind of food that I am going to give you. So the Eden diet, my friends, was a plant-based vegetarian diet. That's what we had right in the beginning. Some of these beautiful fruits, and they could just go and pick them off the trees. And so grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. And these foods, prepared in as simple and natural a manner as possible, are the most healthful and nourishing. In fact, they will impart a strength. You'll be stronger, a power of endurance, and you'll have vigor of intellect that are not afforded by a more complex and stimulating diet. So God says, I'm going to give you the very best diet ever. And we cannot improve upon the Creator's plan given us right in the beginning. And science is recognizing that as well. Science is confirming that even a plant-based diet is the very best if we truly want to be healthy and live longer. Medical researchers have discovered that some foods actually are protective foods against the killer diseases of the 21st century. So what are those foods that are protective foods? What are they? Well, science has discovered that they are plant-based foods such as fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables. And population groups who eat a wide variety of protective foods have a reduced rate of cancer and heart disease. We've been talking about how we can lower the risk of cancer and heart disease. Well, population groups who eat a variety of these plant-based foods have a reduced rate. Documented scientific evidence confirms the validity of a plant-based diet. Over 200 studies in the last 25 years have shown those eating plant-based foods have 50% less cancer. So if we want to have less cancer, less heart disease, all of these chronic diseases that are directly connected to these lifestyle practices that we are going over, then you can reduce them by a plant-based diet. And God placed all the natural ingredients in a plant-based diet. Everything is here. Someone says, well, will I get enough protein? Will I get enough nutrients? Yes. A plant-based diet contains adequate carbohydrates. And my friends, we need those carbs. I know there are some who are teaching that we don't need them, but we need the good carbs, not the packaged processed foods and refined foods, but carbohydrates, but we need the good carbohydrates. And yes, we need the protein. We need protein, but we get adequate protein in a plant-based diet, and we get all the vitamins and minerals that we need. And Counsels on Diets and Foods, a wonderful book on health, says this: in grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts are to be found all the food elements that we need. Those elements are nutrients. So in all of this plant-based diet, we have all the nutrients or elements that we need. So let's look at some advantages of a total vegetarian diet. Well, first of all, a vegetarian diet is rich in phytochemicals and antioxidants. What are phytochemicals? Some of you may be wondering. What are those anyway? That's a new term more recently. And so phyto just simply means plant, my friends, and phytochemicals are protective chemicals found only in plant food. This is not found in animal foods, but your phytochemicals are found in plant foods. And tomatoes are filled with an abundance of phytochemicals. In fact, I eat those delicious red, juicy tomatoes just about every single day. It's one of my favorite foods. So tomatoes are filled with those phytochemicals. And soybeans and tofu are packed full of protective chemicals, and they have lots of protein as well. You know, just before I was doing a cooking school most recently, I had someone come to me and say, don't talk about tofu, don't talk about soybeans, because there's studies that say that they're not good for you. So I decided to do a very thorough study on soybeans. And my friends, after my study, and I had studied a lot of scientific evidence, I was more convinced that I needed to eat more of that edamame and more of those soybeans. So they are good for you. God made these, and they are wonderful and nutritious. And they actually can help reduce breast cancer, colon cancer, rectal cancer, lung cancer, and even stomach cancer. It's because these foods are filled with phytochemicals and antioxidants. What are antioxidants, you say? Well, antioxidants are chemicals found in food that prevent or repair damage to the cells caused by substances called free radicals. In other words, we're not only going to prevent the cells from damaging, but also it can repair the cells that are already damaged by these free radicals. And the highest antioxidants are found in berries. Now, we love berries in our home. We eat lots of berries. In fact, we had an antioxidant test, and my husband and I were off the charts in antioxidants. And the nurse said to us, "Are you eating lots of berries or carrot juice?" And we said, "Yes, all of the above. And your antioxidant level is so high." Well, someone says, "I can't afford berries." But my friends, when I get one package and it says buy one, get one free, I buy them. So that's a little tip, a little help that you can get when you're at the grocery store. If it says buy one pack of strawberries and get one free, buy those. And you can even freeze them and use them in blueberry pancakes or whatever. And also you will be high in those good antioxidants. And a plant-based diet also can help reduce the risk or reverse heart disease. Not only reduce the risk today, but scientific studies actually show that we can reverse heart disease on a plant-based diet. In fact, that's one of the only ways that we can actually reverse heart disease is on these principles that I'm talking to you about right here on 3ABN. Another plant-based diet, another advantage of a plant-based diet is that we can reduce the risk of cancer. So cancer can be reduced on a plant-based diet. And a plant-based diet contains alkaline-forming foods, and we want our body to be more alkaline than acidic. So we need to have the alkaline forming foods. The right kind of food is primarily alkaline forming. But the typical Western diet is acidic forming. What's the difference between alkaline forming and acidic forming? Well, the best diet is to consist of at least 50% or more alkaline forming foods. And your alkaline forming foods include your fruits, just like these beautiful fruits here, and your vegetables and your lentils, your seeds, and even some nuts. And your acidic forming or your acid forming foods include your meat, all of your animal products, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, processed foods, desserts, sugar, fast foods, and even most grains. But then someone says, what about grains? Well, no, we need the grains. That needs to take up the percent after the 50% that you're getting with the alkaline forming foods. And so we need the grains for the fiber. We need the grains for the B vitamins. And so we need all of that. But the alkaline forming foods, we need to increase. We need to increase our food of fruits and vegetables. And many people and many health problems are associated with our body being too acidic. You have high acidic forming foods which produce those free radicals. So here you have a normal cell, but then you have a damaged cell over here where it just gets all those free radicals and goes in every direction. And these free radicals set the stage for cancer, for heart disease, other diseases, and even premature aging. So we need alkaline foods in our alkaline forming foods in our diet. And for good nutrition, we need to reduce the cholesterol intake. Yes, most people are on a high cholesterol diet, and animal foods are high in cholesterol. But plant foods contain no cholesterol, so we don't have cholesterol in these burgers or in plant foods. But eggs, my friends, are one of the highest known sources of cholesterol to man. In fact, the Heart Association says that if you are eating eggs, don't eat more than 2 to 3 a week, even used in cooking. So we want to cut down on that cholesterol. Dr. Neil Nedley, medical doctor, in his book Proof Positive, page 29, says, a high intake of cholesterol, which is present in meat, eggs, and dairy products, has also been linked to an increased incidence of cancer in several studies. And this is what we're trying to do in these programs, my friends. We're trying to cut down the risk of cancer, heart disease, and these chronic diseases. And a high-fat diet contributes to cancer and heart disease. So cutting down in the fat will help as well. In the book Counsels on Diets and Foods, written way back in even 1886, it says the liability to take disease is increased tenfold by meat eating. So 10 times by meat eating. And science is proving this today, according to Walter Longo, a University of Southern California gerontologist and co-author of a 2014 study on eating lots of protein, particularly from animal sources, speeds up aging and hastens the development of some diseases. So when we eat meat, we actually hasten and speed up the aging process. In fact, studies have shown that young people reach puberty sooner, age sooner, and die sooner when we're on an animal-based diet. In another article titled Animal Protein Linked to Death by Thomas Campbell. Now, this Thomas Campbell is the son of Dr. Campbell, who wrote the China Study book. It was modified on August 29, 2016, and it says this: a study released this week shows that among 2 very large American studies, populations, both female nurses and male health professionals, that those that consumed the most animal protein compared to plant protein had a higher risk of death, particularly cardiovascular disease. So on an animal diet, they had a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. And then he goes on to say, those consuming the most plant protein were found to have 33% reduced risk of death. So you can reduce the risk of death by 33% by just eliminating animal foods, and 40% reduced risk of cardiovascular death, and 28% reduced risk of cancer death. So we know science is proving these principles, my friends, that we're giving to you right here. So how can we do this? Cut out those high-fat, high-cholesterol foods, and you will feel so much better as well. But again, in Counsels on Diets and Foods, we are told that cancers, tumors, and pulmonary diseases are largely caused by meat eating. And what are those pulmonary diseases? They're lung diseases, and that's why some people who are not smokers but eating largely of animal foods can actually contract these lung diseases, such as even lung cancer. And then many people, many die of diseases wholly due to meat eating when the real cause is scarcely suspected by themselves or others. In other words, actually people are dying from eating all of that meat, high cholesterol, high fat, which is linked to so many of these diseases, and they don't even know it. And that's why I'm sharing with you, my friends, right here on 3ABN. I'm sharing with you these secrets because I know that you will not only feel better, but you will live longer if you follow these principles. So my friends, for good nutrition, we need to eat also foods that are high in fiber. And all fruit has an abundance of fiber, so eat fruit in abundance. And whole grains, they're rich in complex carbohydrates, and they have different types of dietary fiber, and protein, and vitamins and minerals, and a host of phytochemicals. So these whole grains are filled with nutrients. And even add some beans to your breakfast. They're high in fiber. They're nutritious, delicious, and satisfying. In fact, the centenarians are saying we need beans and greens and nuts and seeds to keep us living longer. So jumpstart your day with a good breakfast. I jumpstart my husband's day with a very good breakfast. And what does a good breakfast contain? Well, lots of fruit, grains, and nuts and seeds because they're high in fiber. So plant-based vegetarians have plenty of healthy breakfast choices. Look at all these different choices, from oatmeal pancakes to even hash browns to cobblers to granolas. You have many, many choices. But how much fiber do we need, someone asked? Well, we need 30 grams per day, but the average person in North America consumes less than 50% of the recommended amounts of dietary fiber. So we're only getting half of the amount. And for youth, this value may be as low as 20%, a factor considered by experts as contributing to the rise in obesity. And childhood obesity is on the rise. Why is fiber so important? Because fiber stimulates the colon to discharge the waste faster and reduces the concentration of harmful substances remaining in the colon. In other words, when we eat foods that are high in fiber, it actually pushes all of those toxins and all of those harmful products right through, and we will actually cut down and reduce the risk of cancer and diabetes and even heart disease. So increase, my friends, your consumption of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. That's the thing that we need to do, is just increase these good foods and eat at least 5 to 9 fruits and vegetables every day. You know, it used to be that dietitians said 5 a day. Our daughter Rebecca is a dietitian. She worked in the Children's Hospital many years ago, and they were saying 5 a day. But today we need 8 or 9 fruits and vegetables every day. And the United States government provides nutrition guidelines for Americans, and they're updated approximately every 5 years, and they're coming to the conclusion that we need more fruits and vegetables. And here's the newest nutritional guide called My Plate. And vegetables are one of the highest things that we need. And then fruits and grains and protein, they say, with some dairy. But then the USDA 2015 report found that a healthy diet should comprise higher plant foods and lower animal-based foods. So they're realizing we need more plant-based foods. Harvard Medical School and Science are coming back to God's original diet of fruits, vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and seeds. In fact, the Harvard Eating Plate from Harvard University actually says, yes, vegetables we need a lot of, and fruits, but not just grains. We need whole grains, and not just protein. We need healthy protein, protein that's like nuts, and avoid bacon and cold cuts and all of that processed meat. And then drink that water, eat some use some healthy oils, and stay active, and you will be healthy. So a plant-based diet was the diet, my friends, chosen for mankind by our Creator. Let's quickly look at principle number 2. So the first principle is to eat the right kinds of foods, and we know that that's plant-based food. Eat at the right times. Well, what are the right times? Well, first we need to establish regular eating times. 2 to 3 meals a day is all we need, with nothing between. In fact, allow adequate time between meals to give your body the opportunity to properly digest the food from the previous meal. 5 hours at least should elapse between each meal, and always bear in mind that if you would give it a trial, you would find that 2 meals are better than 3. So at least, and some people need 3 meals, and some people can do very well on 2 meals. But whatever you see is best for you. But nothing in between. We don't need to be eating 5, 6, or more meals with all the snacks today. And science is bearing this out. Luigi Fontana, physician and co-director of the Longevity Research Program at Washington University in St. Louis, says, fasting for as little as 16 hours could improve some health measures and counteract disease processes. In other words, if we just skipped supper occasionally, the evening meal, we would be fasting at least 16 hours, and this could counteract some of the prominent diseases. So the right kinds of foods, the right time to eat, and then the right amount of food is principle number 3. Michelle Bellatoni of Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine points out that it's more than just finding the right foods. You need to eat them in the right amounts too. So it's not only the right foods, but the right amount. And according to the latest statistics, actually 66% of Americans are overweight or obese. And gaining or losing weight is all about calorie intake and burning those calories. So if you're taking in more calories than you're burning, you're probably going to gain weight. So if you're gaining weight, my friends, it's as simple as this. You're eating too much. And if you're losing weight, then you're possibly not eating enough. And so you need to eat enough to maintain your ideal weight. So here are the 3 key principles of good nutrition, my friends. Choose the right kinds of foods, choose the right times to eat, and choose the right amount of food. There it is, all wrapped up there. What are the right kinds of foods? They are fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables. Basically, the diet that God gave us in the beginning. It is a plant-based diet. And then the right times, 2 or 3 meals with nothing between. And then the right amount. It's different for different people, but the right amount is make sure that you have your ideal weight and keep that ideal weight so that you choose the right kinds, the right times, and the right amount. And so our prescription for you today is eat a variety, a wide variety. That's so important. Eat a wide variety of fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables. So here are our teeny tips for you. Eat a plant-based diet. It's the very best. There's nothing that compares to this plant-based diet, and science is proving that it will keep you not only healthy, but give you a longer life. And so reduce the fat and cholesterol consumption. How do we do this? Well, we can eliminate all those animal products. And once we do that, we automatically reduce the cholesterol consumption. And then reduce sugar consumption. Sometimes people, when they go from a meat or animal diet, they go on a high sugar diet. But we need to reduce that sugar because sugar actually lessens our immune system, and it also clogs the system. And then reducing the salt consumption. We do need some salt, but we need to reduce the salt consumption. And then increase the consumption of vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. If you're only eating a few vegetables or a few fruits, increase that number and eat more. And then eat a substantial breakfast. My friends, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Our body is ready to eat food in the morning when we get up. So eat a substantial breakfast. And then allow at least 5 hours between our meals. And when we do all of this, my friends, you will be living to that healthy 100. So I hope that you will incorporate these principles into your lifestyle, because I know that this is God's plan. It's God's health assurance plan. And you can live longer, healthier, and happier if you incorporate all of these things that we're talking about into your lifestyle. And I know that God will help you to do it. So may God bless each of you. My husband and I have been doing this for many years, and we have the materials out there for you to look at: a cookbook, a workbook, an instructor book, DVDs. So may God bless you as you choose God's way.